All right, we're getting ready to start. Ruth Pollack, Ms. Pollack, go right ahead.
Good afternoon, Senator. Thank you very much. My name is Ruth Pollack. I'm an attorney in the East End of Long Island, Riverhead, New York. Practiced 26, going on 27 years. I have had I love my career, and I have had a wonderful career. I've practiced in just about every court that you can practice in. I've tried cases in surrogates court and took a verdict at 2 o'clock in the morning and won. I have been in the state and federal courts and agencies, and I'm a former prosecutor for the Nassau DA about 26, 27 years ago. There's not much I haven't seen and done, and for the most part, I love what I do, and I look forward to any new attorney or judge that I meet. I'm here today, however, because of the breakdown of the system, and my brief suggestions for what I think, as a member of the brothers and sisters in law in the trenches, we can do to fix it. I got ovarian cancer in June of 2003. I went through the full Monty, and I survived that. I'm now considered cured, even though I still suffer from lymphedema in both my legs. That means I carry 60 pounds of extra fluid in my legs every day, so I'm partially physically disabled. And of course, as a survivor, we don't seek sympathy. We just want understanding and some accommodation. I'm just happy to be here and happy to be alive. But I tried a case in Eastern District Federal Court against the U.S. government, and many of my cases are, despite my stature, I go up against some big league people. I go up the federal government. I've gone up against banking institutions, many school districts, and so forth. I have an asbestos case involving a school district on Long Island right now. My cases are controversial, and I'm not afraid to go after anyone, including an attorney, if the attorney is doing something that is improper. When I returned back into active duty, so to speak, as an attorney, the case that I had against the federal government was, partly on account of my disability, dismissed in the middle of my direct examination. I must have been through about 8 to 10 witnesses at that point, and that was on June 5th, 2007. That led to a contempt hearing, and I was held in contempt of court, and I'll move on from there. The very next day, I walked into an ongoing family court case in Manhattan Family Court, the Jubb case, J-U-B-B, representing a father and his infant son, or actually I represented the father on behalf of him and his son. And I'd been there many times before. I'd objected to what I saw was tampering of witnesses by Child Protective Services, tampering with records, the general poorly run court room and poorly run proceedings. And at 9:30 in the morning in family court at 60 Lafayette, and at the beginning of a hearing before Judge Susan Nips, a male court officer proceeded to come toward me without provocation. He placed me in a front headlock before I was able to sit down. And the 10 or so court officers that were already in the courtroom when I walked in, of that group, about 5 of them came around me from behind and put me in a full body lock, lifted me from the floor, dragged me out, crashed me against the wall, and then threw me out into the court lobby, physically, bodily. Everyone, I have lay witnesses and I have my client and other witnesses to this occurrence. Everyone in the courtroom, the judge and everyone denied that it happened. I had done nothing. The judge said, "Clear the courtroom now," when I had simply said to the court officer, "I have 2 witnesses, they're not testifying," and that's all they said. As a result, I suffered tremendous post-traumatic stress syndrome. I never walked into a courtroom again feeling the same safety and security that I had for 26 years. I filed a case against the state of New York, which is pending with the Attorney General's office. I had hoped, and I'm hoping, that the Attorney General will investigate this. But then it continued because thereafter, on September 28th of 2007, when I went back to that court, to the financial judicial hearing officer for the monetary portion of the case. The record was shut off by the JHO, and the court officers slammed my desk against the wall and told me to get up, and my client, and get out. And they surrounded us, but they didn't touch us. I took the badge numbers as well. So it was more internal terrorism, so to speak. I had never before been attacked by anyone in my lifetime. So this was, again, more of a message of some sort. I'm not sure what. Since that time, I've been menaced by court officers on behalf of 2 judges in district court in Hempstead in a criminal case, because I do a lot of criminal defense work, and that has caused me great consternation. I've had witnesses to that occurrence as well. I have witnesses. I'm here because, while I could go on and on about my long career, and my curricula vitae is up there for you and for the panel. The system is breaking down. We need to fix it. It's worthy of that. My father was a Top Gun in the Second World War, and I still have him today, and it's because of him and our foremothers and forefathers that we're here today, able to speak out about how we feel about this country and our state. And I'm here to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. And I will do everything that I can to be part of the solution, which is a huge, in need of huge help. I personally am now, I've been suspended for 2 years. It started out with a 45-day suspension with a threat of 6 months incarceration. And I served my 45 days of suspension in the Eastern District of New York because I disagreed with a judge and because I missed a day of court due to my legs. I went to 2 federal courthouses in the Eastern District, neither of which are ADA compliant. I have complained about it, nothing's been done. So that my disabled clients, who are also whistleblowers, and I have difficulty parking to get to those courthouses. I'm moving rather rapidly because I just want to hit on certain points that I think people should know. Since that time, I have had, since the federal suspension which I served, I was advised rather cryptically that they thought that I had violated my 45-day suspension by using my former law partner to cover my cases for me, one case for me. And so they just sent me a letter saying, you haven't responded in 20 days, so we're going to suspend you for 2 years now.
Who's this?
Only in the Eastern District. That was Judge Kogan. They claim that there's an Eastern District of New York grievance committee, but I have never seen any such thing.
Suspended from practicing in the Eastern District?
Only for 2 more years. That's where almost all of my cases are. One of my clients is here in the audience today, Mr. Kevin Chesney. Again, that was to put me out of business. That was to get rid of me. My own appointed attorney told me to give up all my cases in the Eastern District, submit to urine tests, and or else I would go to jail. And that would be the best thing she could do. She accused me of being mentally ill, something I am clearly not. So I was essentially put in a position where they were going to have me suspended to get me out of the Eastern District, come hell or high water.
Right.
And that's where I am today, fighting all the way to come back. And that is a fight for another day. But the point is that now the Eastern District has sent paperwork behind the scenes, without my knowing what it is, to the 10th Judicial District where I reside. And Rita Adler, who is the chief counsel there, has bombarded me with letter after letter after letter after letter, day after day after day, relating to that case in which I was held in contempt in 2007, saying that she thinks I'm a criminal and I should be treated as a criminal and I shouldn't be allowed to practice and we should do something about this woman.
I mean, when you say she didn't write you a letter to that extent.
She wrote a letter to Mr. Peltzer to that effect.
Not calling you a criminal.
What she did was criminal, essentially, is what she says in her letter, and that's in part of my packet. Okay. Basically saying, yeah, it's her actions are criminal. They're quite strong. Actually citing to sections of the penal law. And as a criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor, I'm very well acquainted with the penal law. So part of her approach, if we may look at how rules are to be followed, is she pretended, as did a member of the 10th, that she couldn't reach me or serve me. So a an investigator came to my home, left a business card in my door, which could have floated off into the atmosphere. My 86-year-old father saw that, saw orders slipped under the door, and one day when I walked into my office in 2008, I was met with an order that was taped to my door with red masking tape. I'm holding it up now, which I took a picture of and blew up so that you could see the door of my office. Everybody in my office building saw this, my suite with this red masking tape, I don't know where you get it, but taped to my door. So again, these terror tactics, or whatever you want to call them, have been used to intimidate me and to make me go away. I may just be a country girl from the East End, but I do not go away. I have always fought for the underdog my whole life. I've seen injustices since I was a kid, and I do not discriminate. I represent everybody. I don't care who or what the person is about. I represent them all. Mr. Kelly in Rockland is my newest client. I'm an outsider. I'm a new kid on the block. I've seen what he has described. It is a fact. I have never had any problems in my life of any kind, criminal or otherwise, other than one incident with the grievance committee back in the late 90s involving a matrimonial, which was clearly a political way of getting a case, a very, very interesting case involving the Mannises, Morton Mannis, a matrimonial away from me when it was going rather well, and given to another attorney. And because I stood up for my retaining lien, and I was in the middle of a retaining lien hearing, I had charges brought up against me, but my case was transferred to the 9th District that didn't know me at all.
Right.
So that was my first foray into the 9th.
So if you want to sum it up, Ms. Pollack.
My summary is that the solution to these many things that you've heard today, without my repeating the many things that we've heard as a group here, is that we need transparency, and the transparency must look like this. We need transparency in terms of judges and all public officials that serve in our system and on these committees should disclose what insurance companies insure them, what financial institutions they have their pensions or finances in through the system, what banks are involved, what disability insurance companies are involved. Because when I've sued these various types of companies, I've never known if there was a conflict of interest between those people that I was working in front of as judges or against as litigants, if there was a conflict of interest. So I highly, highly support full disclosure of any and all of those types of things on the docket, including all committee members on all of the committees we've discussed today, who they are, where they're from, all of their affiliations, what their trainings are. I can't find any of it, and I've looked all over the place. Who are the people on the committee? Where did they come from? Etc. And I don't think I need to go on. I think it's a point that's been taken.
Thank you very much.
And I just wanted to thank you sincerely for your time.
Thank you very much.
God bless.
Thank you very much.